Alright, bros, we're get going here. See, I don't think we got too many more days on this battle pass. I think I got enough to buy another one, close to it anyway. Free cal, yeah, we'll take that. Close. Alrighty. Back. Now. I think it's like 2 or 3 days. In 4 days, we got enough time to get to rest. We're close to the end anyway, so don't matter. Don't matter on it. It really don't. Let's see. I was listening to some things that went on about Trump Zelensky there yesterday, just for the heck of it, seeing what was what, He's left on that, you reckon? I've got 3 containers. We'll probably play these. Got your play, I guess. Captain, Shots good. Another super. 7 days. That was good. Gives us 137 days still. We're good on premium time. Nice. Okay. Now, wanting to play us as well. That'll work. We'll just go down the line and let's see what this crap is. Whatever. This one's a red alert. Submarines detected in radar. Okay. Not current. More or less trying to get them down off of it, dudes. Let's see here. Let's do that one. I'm not buying no ships. And work in progress update. Let's check him out here.
14.2. I'm Shvurcha, and I'm here once again to tell you all about the upcoming changes in World of Warships. Stick around to learn what new events and features lie in wait in our next game update. Before we get started, I just have to add that the information I'm about to share might change, as the features are still in development. With that said, let's dive into it. In update 14.2, we're introducing time-limited content that will gradually evolve over several updates before getting removed from the game. We want to be bold and experimental with implementation of new mechanics without overcomplicating the game, but at the same time we want to have the option to remove or rotate them based on your feedback. First up is a new iteration of classified documents. Many of you may remember this mechanic from the D-Day operations. It allowed you to boost your effectiveness against specific enemy types. In update 14.2, we're working on bringing classified documents that you can use in both random battles and operations with flagships. Their specific mechanics will differ for each battle type, so make sure to visit our website for the details. We're tweaking operations with flagships to bring you a more diverse and exciting version in this update. Instead of the flagship types being predetermined, you'll face 3 flagships of 2 types each time, with different effects and vulnerabilities. The specific flagships will be randomly selected and revealed to players at the start of each operation. Another big news item is the arrival of time-limited experimental ships that will remain in the game until the end of update 14.6. These ships have special mechanics. They start each battle with a partially depleted health pool, and you'll be able to choose either to repair it or play in a risky style, as they benefit from improved accuracy and a faster main battery reload relative to how low their health is. These ships also have a limited amount of improved ammunition. Make sure to check more details about the ships, their mechanics, and how to get them on our website and development blog. Now that we've covered the time-limited features, we can turn to other activities and content. Bounty Hunt returns in update 14.2. This time it's a pirate-themed, with plenty of piratey rewards. All captains with battleships, cruisers, and destroyers from tier 6 and above, including super ships, will be able to participate as bounties in random battles. The bounty status will be free this time and obtainable once per day via the armory. The status will remain active for 24 hours or until you complete a special mission. Both hunters and bounties will earn bounty tokens, and you can spend them on a pretty awesome array of rewards, including pirate-themed commanders and permanent camouflages. The time has come, captains. We're finally bringing a submarine branch to the Soviet tech tree. In update 14.2, we're welcoming tier 6 S1.
Okay. Foundation-wise, we're one day. Now, okay. Let's get started. See what we can get into. Let me,
If you're unsure or unaware of your eyeglass prescription, or if your prescription changes frequently.
Well, after 4 years of Joe Biden, was Zelensky ready for the leadership President Trump exhibited today? Let's bring in Alex Marlow, editor-in-chief of Breitbart News, co-author of the Breitbart Business Digest and host of the Alex Marlow Show podcast, and Joe Concha, Fox News contributor and author of The Greatest Comeback Ever. I'm wondering, by the way, how Zelensky comes back from this. You know, the extraordinary thing, you talk about comebacks, the big comeback from my perspective, Joe, were the markets. They initially went down because, you know, everybody was clutching their pearls and thinking this is a disaster for it's Trump again. But look at how the markets ended up. The Dow up 600 points, the NASDAQ up even greater percentage-wise. I think the digested message of what happened today was that Trump won. Is that too simple?
That may, I mean, I don't know if the two are completely connected, but the timing, you're right.
He's got his back, man.
around 2:30, 3 o'clock, after the initial reaction. This appears to be the breakup before the makeup. Zelensky is still in the country. He'll be sitting down with Brett Baer on Fox News at 6 o'clock tonight, for example. So, yeah, the fact that President Trump, he's trying to broker a peace that would save Ukraine and end this perpetual stalemate, draining U.S. Hundreds of millions more in taxpayer dollars in the process. And for those who have to be reminded once again, Putin invaded other countries when George W. Bush was president, when Barack Obama was president, when Joe Biden was president, but didn't invade when Donald Trump was president. And by the way, whoever advised Zelensky to come here and publicly challenge Trump in front of the media in his own house should find another job. And by the way, would it kill Zelensky to wear a suit when he goes to the Oval Office?
Well, remember,
that guy looked like he was going to a discotheque and
he was chided by Donald Trump as soon as he arrived, saying, "Can't you get a suit?" or something like that. But Alex, the point is that Zelensky had been meeting all morning with congressional leaders. For the third time, we could put up the picture of him meeting with Klobuchar, Senator Klobuchar, Lindsey Graham, and I think Chris Coons was there as well. Clearly, I mean, he was being given advice, but not the right advice. What do you think he was told by these people, Alex?
Yeah, it's sort of surreal to watch it. I think this was the first genuine public meltdown that we've seen from a world leader in a very long time. There's no other really way to analyze it. To the suit point, I think he should just go full Al Sharpton tracksuit now. I think he should go full Adidas with just patent leather or a big chain. Why not? He looks ridiculous anyway. Just really lean into it. But clearly he's lost his fastball because no one challenges him. He hasn't met with Putin since 2019.
I think that's it. I think that's it.
Yeah,
no one challenged, whether he's going to Europe or here, everybody's just, he can do no wrong. And I think he's got that stuck in his head.
Yeah, and then Vance comes at him with not just, it wasn't an attack, it was legitimate points. Trump sent him Javelin missiles before Russia invaded. Biden didn't do that. And Zelensky went to Pennsylvania to campaign for Democrats, and Trump is supposed to look at him in the face like this never happened. Vance was defending this country. It was absolutely masterful, and Trump having his back and saying, we're not going to be emotional here. That was the key moment for me. And Trump said, we're not being emotional. Yes.
Joe, I understand that he has been a heroic figure at several points in this war, particularly in the beginning, Zelensky has. But once again, I mean, it just showed that you try to take Donald Trump on. Donald Trump defends the United States. He defends the people. At one point, he was saying it's not. He was alluding to the fact that it's not him personally. He doesn't want somebody to come into the White House and start insulting the American people who want a payback for all the billions that they have put into this war.
Yeah, and that payback is right there in that raw minerals partnership. You could be talking about hundreds of billions of dollars where we not only get our money back, but this could be a boon for not just Ukraine, but for the U.S. And then Zelensky goes in there and thinks he could strong-arm the president of the United States with cameras rolling. But, to Alex's point, this is what happens after 3 years when Zelensky only heard one word from the Biden administration. Yes. And then two questions. What do you need? Oh, okay. And how much do you need? Those days Donald Trump showed are clearly over now.
You know, Alex, the other thing Donald Trump said is look, we're talking about the potential of World War III here. This is more, you don't think that we are interested in resolving this thing? First of all, he's interested in stopping the death and destruction that's going on, but he's also interested in stopping the potential of a World War III going on here, and the potential is there, Alex.
Yeah, Trump is assumed a paternal stance here, and that's exactly right. He treated Zelensky like a child who is acting out, which is what he deserved. Trump is playing at such a broader level than Zelensky right now. He's trying to end this war and bring peace. He's trying to get those rare earths specifically to counter China, which is dominant on the rare earths market. Trump is playing a huge game, and Zelensky's relitigating the start of the war years ago. Trump has no time for that, and he was not going to do it.
No, he wasn't. And supposedly he's going to continue. He's going to have that interview with Brett Baer at 6 o'clock. So he still has time before sunset to make some peace here. Gentlemen, great to see you. Have a wonderful weekend.
Go here to.
Well, today was interesting. Zelensky went to the White House and met the fashion police.
Ready clothes? Ready shot? He's all dressed up today.
But everybody was getting along fine. Zelensky was there to sign the mineral deal and start peace negotiations. The first 30 minutes went great. Even the reporters were teasing the Ukrainian about his clothes.
Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest. Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if you own a suit.
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting the dignity of this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something
maybe
like this.
something like
Yes,
yours.
sir.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know.
I do like your clothing, though.
Yeah, really?
Even though I have to, I think he's
Yeah,
a great guy,
yeah.
by the way. But I don't know if you two like each other. But you know what? I think
No,
he's dressed. I think he's
why?
dressed
I like this
beautifully.
guy. I don't. Know
I think
him.
he's dressed beautifully.
So.
Everyone seemed friendly, about to eat lunch, just doing what they do. Then for some reason, Zelensky got an attitude.
I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough.
Damn right.
But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes.
The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden.
Can age spots be removed? Absolutely. Age spots are not actually caused by aging per se.
Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yeah, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president.
What the heck is Zelensky doing giving us a history lesson like we don't know Putin's a snake? We know Putin's violated deals before under Democrat presidencies. What good does it do Zelensky to call us naive? We're not naive. If anyone's naive, it's Zelensky. He didn't even think Russia was going to invade, even when Biden's CIA was like, guy, they're going in. And if you don't think you can do a deal with Putin, then why are you even here? Joe Biden's in Delaware. This is a new group.
Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's
I
respectful
will answer.
to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
Well, first of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good. We're going to feel very good and very strong. You're right now not in a very good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
Trump's not playing.
Is he playing cards or Russian roulette? Who does he think he is coming here
He's not
in front of the
Churchill.
cameras and telling
Trump's
our president
not,
that if we don't
Roosevelt.
sign a security pact, we're next?
Churchill.
We're not doing a security deal with Ukraine. That's why they're not getting into NATO. NATO doesn't want them in NATO. That's a trap. That's going to trigger World War III.
Yep.
The mineral deal is the security deal, because if Americans are in Ukraine doing business, Russia's not going to start shooting at our contractors.
No.
Ukraine's in no position to negotiate terms. We're in charge. We'll tell Zelensky what the terms are. He can either accept it, fight Russia himself, or go look for another sponsor. And good luck, because the Europeans aren't going to cut it.
No.
And I get it. I have respect for Zelensky. His country got invaded. He didn't flee. He stayed and fought. Ukraine fought. They fought hard. They fought the Russians to a stalemate in the east. An amazing job. But now it's trench warfare, and they're dug in like World War I. And the Ukrainians don't have the bodies to throw into the front lines like the Russians do. That's why Zelensky wants to end it. The Europeans want to end it. We want to end it. And Russia does too. That's why they're at the table. A proxy war that goes nowhere. Is that in America's best interests? Zelensky didn't read the room. He didn't even say thank you.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you can...
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this.
Don't tell the vice president he's speaking too loudly. He can speak however he wants to in the White House.
I thought J.D.
Have you ever seen a foreign leader come into America and talk this way? And everyone knows if Zelensky had come in, signed the deal, showed some gratitude, it would have gone a long way. And it would have reminded the American people that Zelensky is a victim. We could have sympathized with him, and we do. His country's been under attack. But we saved Zelensky's life. We saved his country. And it was an honor to save his country. And if you want to have an attitude because war's hell and you're fighting for your survival, I get that. But do it in private. What do you think was going to happen if you're going to do this in front of the press? You think Trump's going to let it fly?
Hell no.
So if you weren't ready to sign the deal, why'd you fly here? And if you didn't like the language of the mineral deal, have your team hash it out with us. Push the trip back a week and then fly over. Don't fly here saying you're going to sign on the dotted line and then argue about what's not in the deal on TV.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks in this cabinet, and not only in this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment, and your men are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment,
if you
didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
Zelensky was already on thin ice, and now he's going toe-to-toe with Trump like this is some kind of debate. We're not here to debate. You can debate behind the scenes. You can debate at lunch.
Yeah, buddy.
But if you debate in the open like this, you're going to lose because Ukraine has no leverage. The minerals were their only leverage, and without those, you're not getting a peace deal. At a certain point, it didn't even look like Zelensky wanted peace.
You tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I want this.
Enemy force detected.
If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you what
that wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins.
Yeah.
You got to be more thankful.
Zelensky wants guarantees. I would too. But Russia invaded under Bush, under Obama, under Biden. Putin never invaded under Trump. And Trump's saying, I'm the guarantee. And if we have Americans in Ukraine excavating minerals, that's a double guarantee. And if push comes to shove, something tells me that American weapons are always available. Zelensky's not going to get a better deal than that.
Nope. What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do we do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
Don't bite the hand.
Who could have thought that this simple ear trick could help fight off dementia? Did you know that memory loss is not a condition of the mind? Most people don't know this.
The hand that feeds you. Netanyahu might have had it out with Biden, but he didn't come into the Oval Office and point his finger in his face. After World War II, the French and the British didn't dictate terms to the Americans. We said, get rid of your colonies. Here's the Marshall Plan. Here's how you're going to pay us back. This is the New World Order. Do you think Karzai in Afghanistan came to the White House and lectured Bush on live TV? Zelensky really screwed up. Even the Ukrainian ambassador couldn't watch. Zelensky's never done a deal like this in his life. Trump's had a lifetime of doing international business deals, and he's a two-term president. He did the Abraham Accords, renegotiated NAFTA, the China trade deal. He's getting hostages back all over the world. He has his party in lockstep, and he has tycoons from all over flying to Washington to announce billion-dollar investments. And what, Zelensky's jumping up and down and picking fights? What's that going to do? What's gotten into this guy?
The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. You don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing.
Trump and Zelensky were supposed to have a joint press conference afterwards. Didn't happen. They were supposed to have lunch together, too. But Trump kicked Zelensky out of the White House. And the White House staff ate Zelensky's lunch.
We had a meeting today, as you know, with President Zelensky, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great. From his standpoint, I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up as strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening. I'm looking for peace. We're not looking to go into a 10-year war and play games. We want peace. And it was just my impression that if we do that, if we sign up, he's looking for something that I'm not looking for. He's looking to go on and fight, fight, fight. We're not going to keep fighting. You're going to get the war done or let them go and see what happens. Let them fight it out.
Zelensky messed up so badly, he lost Lindsey Graham.
What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled the meeting, the way he confronted the president was just over the top.
This was a diplomatic catastrophe for Zelensky. Without the White House and Republicans in Congress, Ukraine's toast. Zelensky knows that. But for some reason, he didn't have the emotional intelligence to behave that way. So talks are off, for now.
What does Zelensky need to restart talks with you?
He's got to say, I want to make peace. He doesn't have to stand there and say about Putin this, Putin that, all negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace. I don't want to fight a war any longer.
Zelensky was just on with Brett Baer and somehow made it worse.
Do you think you owe an apology to President Trump?
I'm just telling that I think that we have to be on the same side, and I hope that the president on our side together with us, and that is very important to stop Putin.
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
No, I respect the president and I respect American people, and if I don't know if I think that we have to be very open and very honest, and I'm not sure that we did something bad.
He just got kicked out of the White House before lunch, and he's not sure he did anything bad.
Yeah.
Does Zelensky not understand Donald Trump at all?
No.
Was he not briefed before this? No. Manners mean everything to the president. Thank you means a lot to him. Yeah, I'm sorry. Would have really helped here.
Not going with the
our country saved your life.
Politics.
Zelensky owes us everything. He had the same issue with Biden. Biden's team had to coach him before he got on the phone. You need to be more.
Had went to Ukraine and was fighting in the war, then come back and decided he's going to shoot Donald Trump. You know. Very, very disrespectful, man. Very. Honestly.
More gracious, you have to stop making so many demands, you have to say thank you. And he'd get on the phone and he'd misbehave. And it drove Joe nuts. And it's driving Trump nuts too. In any business meeting, you have to understand if you're the junior partner in the deal. You got to act like it. Obviously, the Democrats saw the president standing up for American interests and took the side of the others.
What we just witnessed between Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and President Zelensky inside the White House was an ambush. It was a planned ambush designed to embarrass President Zelensky in order to benefit Vladimir Putin.
What a complete and utter mess. And this is a gift to Putin. We don't gain anything by acting like bullies. And this is what bullies do. And just because you act this way, by the way, it doesn't mean that you're tough.
The President of the United States is a coward who is Vladimir Putin's puppet. The Vice President of the United States is a pogue and a coward who is Donald Trump's puppet. And so what we just witnessed was a meeting in the Oval Office between two cowardly puppets and a hero.
This is just meaningless sloganeering. What is the Democrats' plan for peace in Ukraine? They don't have one. What's the Democrats' plan to win the war in Ukraine? They don't have one. The Democrats' only plan is to keep doing whatever Joe Biden was doing, which was fight an unwinnable, endless proxy war. Give the Ukrainians just enough not to lose, but not enough to win. And if you do give them too much, it starts a nuclear war. How is that strategy in America's interest?
It's not.
Ending the war is in our interest. It'll lower energy prices, give us access to a new market for minerals, pay down our debt, buy us time to build up our own armaments, which we're depleting, force the Europeans to get some skin in the game and pull the Russians away from a deeper alliance with China. Oh, and save millions of lives. American presidents for decades cut arms deals with the Soviets. Does that make us Russian puppets? The whole thing's so stupid. This is just about what it takes to get a done deal.
You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America. And for the good of the world, I'm aligned with the world. And I want to get this thing over with.
Does this mean Zelensky's been deported and isn't allowed back into the country? No. Sometimes you have to break up to make up. A lot of relationships go through ups and downs and people get back together. A lot of deals blow up before they're eventually signed. Hopefully, this is just a bump in the road.
It's just, I don't know about no bump in the road, but I'll say that about the whole deal.
So I thought this girl was working out like crazy, but she wasn't. I met her yesterday at...
This is the perfect time to plant cherry seedlings that will be ready to harvest by July. These self-pollinating cherries don't...
Well, there is a lot of news, so we better move on.
And we've all seen at least some of it. An Oval Office blowout leaves the U.S.-Ukraine minerals deal in limbo. The official signing getting scrapped after President Trump, Vice President Vance, and President Zelensky got into a heated exchange over the Russia-Ukraine war.
Trump asked Zelensky to leave the White House after the chaotic meeting and told him to come back when he is ready for peace.
Oh, I love it. Here's the tense conversation that has many Republicans wondering if U.S.-Ukraine relations can ever be repaired. Watch.
We signed ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
I'm not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you don't.
I'm very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling
I'm
with the lives of
President.
millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
He's right about that.
Forever the television producer.
It makes me think that Zelensky's entitlement comes from a place of coming to see President Biden and Vice President Harris and Secretary of State Blinken and explaining to them how democracy works. And they must have just said, oh, thank you so much for the pep talk. How much do you need?
Yeah, here it is.
But what a
Hand out the money.
What a colossal misread, both of the mood of the country, but also just in that room. You know, you walk in that room. What did he think that they were going to talk about? What did he think was going to happen as a result of this? Obviously, you know, Putin's a bad man. Everybody agrees that Putin shouldn't have invaded. Those are the terms of the situation. But then to walk in and then you're going to just start crying about it and attacking your benefactors over that. That's no way to proceed.
Yeah. It's so wrong. You know, I wonder who gave him the advice. I mean, you're right. It could be just he's used to operating this way and just steamrolling over his benefactors, as you call it. Or maybe he had some calls before, like you get tough, you know, from Victoria Nuland or somebody else or Susan Rice. You go in there and you tell him, and he goes in there and he does it, and it just doesn't work out. And then you talk about, you know, the whole setup. Look, I listened closely. J.D. Vance called him Mr. President. He called JD instead of Mr. Vice President. He comes in dressed, you know, in a costume instead of a suit. So I think there's a lot of things that are happening here, and this guy is very used to a certain way of operating, but there's a new sheriff in town.
And when Zelensky's calling the vice president JD, he was also shaming him for not visiting Ukraine. The guy who was visiting Ukraine more than anybody, Lindsey Graham, marched right out to the Fox position, where I normally am, on the lawn, and said, Zelensky's got to go. So I don't think that these visits, these PR visits to Ukraine are getting a good return for the Zelensky team right now. I don't think that the Ukraine visit is the reason that Vance has a different opinion.
I don't know, Peter.
Zelensky.
The propaganda tours of Ukraine have actually given him a lot of money. They've worked for a long time. Maybe it's the end of the line. And Lindsey Graham, I mean, he kind of goes with the wind. I mean, it's not exactly like he's an honest broker here.
Well, whoever was advising him failed.
No question.
Getting what he wanted. So after all of that, President Zelensky refusing to apologize to President Trump. Let's go to Madeline Rivera in Washington with follow-up.
Ship is on fire.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Yeah, this minerals deal was seen by President Trump as compensation for the aid the U.S. has given Ukraine. There was no security guarantee in that agreement. It was expected to come in a bigger negotiation. Now there's uncertainty over whether all of that can happen at all. President Trump saying on Truth Social, I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want advantage, I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America in its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace. After being told to leave the White House grounds, Zelensky spoke with our Brett Baer, where he said he believes his relationship with the president, President Trump, can be repaired.
I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
I respect President and I respect American people. And if, I don't know, if I think that we have to be very open and very honest. And I'm not sure that we did something bad.
This morning, the New York Post is reporting Zelensky's chief of staff had insisted on having that Oval Office meeting. The push reportedly came as President Trump's special envoy to Ukraine and Russia, General Keith Kellogg, was putting the final touches on that minerals deal. A U.S. official tells the New York Post Kellogg and Zelensky had agreed to a deal with one item still to be finalized. As negotiations wrapped up, Zelensky's chief of staff, Andrew Yarmak, pushed for the Ukrainian president to join Trump at the White House to sign the agreement. Kellogg advised against it, knowing that the relationship between the presidents needed to be strengthened before meeting in person. And now the world obviously knows how that meeting played out. There are questions now over Ukraine's future as well, with Zelensky admitting they don't have enough weapons to push Russia out. Charlie, Rachel, and Peter.
Thank you, Maddie.
You got it.
All right, we talked a little bit about the Lindsey Graham sound, so let's just play that. This is what Lindsey Graham said. I guess this is after Zelensky was kicked out of the White House, no lunch, and then Lindsey Graham comes out and throws him under the bus more. So watch this.
I talked to Zelensky this morning. Don't take the bait. President Trump was in a very good mood last night. Somebody asked me, am I embarrassed about Trump? I have never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of J.D. Vance, standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with.
Do you think President Zelensky needs to resign to resume these peace talks?
He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with, or he needs to change.
It's quite a bite.
And of course, the problem there is that if you are going to change Zelensky, they haven't had elections. So there's a problem with that. And so I don't think that we're going to wait around for that to happen. So somebody's going to have a change of attitude and figure out, do they really want to make this thing work?
And everybody, I know that all these other European leaders were tweeting, we support you, Volodymyr Zelensky, we've got your back. I don't know what they're going to do. They're not going to start paying hundreds of billions of dollars for weapons, which would just prolong this war. Somebody, though, who knew instantly that this was going horribly was the Ukrainian ambassador. She was there in the Oval Office as part of the Zelensky side, and she had her head in her hands. You never see this. I go to these Oval Office things all the time. Even if they get a little dry and people might need to collect themselves, you never, ever see that. She knew.
Yeah, I think everyone knew, though. I mean, she just was. She just didn't have a poker face about it. I mean, everybody.
No,
I mean, we knew watching this. We're like,
face.
the whole thing's falling apart. Here's what I think, you guys. I think that Zelensky kind of embodies the whole ungrateful European attitude. In general, the sense of entitlement, the sense that America's always going to be there to hand out money and protect them and fix things. And now they're sort of waking up like, this guy really means it. And this thing was, and also the fact that we're seeing it all play out in, we've never seen these kind of negotiations play out on TV like this. It's remarkable.
No, and I went to Poland twice with Biden after the war broke out, then for the year anniversary. And there is this sense, yes, Europe is united with Ukraine, but this war is over without the United States. There's a Russian flag flying over Zelensky's house right now, without the United States, rather, I should say, and all of their help. So all of these tweets are meaningless unless these European guys are going to say, okay, well, the U.S. is out, so here's all these advanced weapons. Luxembourg doesn't have the weapons to give them.
I think we got to get back to the central point. I think the most important point that Donald Trump made in this whole thing. He said, you are gambling with World War III. This was about peace, ultimately. There's a lot of drama, and we can break down everybody's feelings. But in the end, I think what's remarkable is that we have a president who's willing to do anything to bring about world peace. Man, if he doesn't get the Nobel Peace Prize after this, that thing, it means nothing.
And he was giving Zelensky an off-ramp.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you don't take it, the war continues.
Yep. And meanwhile, in Washington, the Trump administration rolled on with DOGE. Federal workers told once again to justify their work as Elon Musk joined Joe Rogan for a wide-ranging interview, saying DOGE is a threat to bureaucracy, not democracy. The Office of Personnel Management email came 4 hours after the end of business day and asked employees to reply with approximately 5 bullets describing what you accomplished last week and CC your manager. Going forward, the message said, please complete the above task each week by Mondays at 11:59 p.m.
The best one of those emails that I saw so far was from the transportation secretary. That was like the first one. Here's my 5 things. So he's not getting fired.
He's not getting fired. He's not getting doged. No, but listen, Elon Musk also went on with Joe Rogan to talk about this, bureaucracy, this stubborn, stuck-in-the-mud bureaucracy, and saying, you can decide, America, if you want a bureaucracy running your country or if you actually want a democracy run by the people. Listen.
Should be celebrating that we've found a way to cut out fraud and waste.
Yeah.
If you pay taxes and you don't like that you have to pay so much in taxes, and then you find out that there's significant fraud and waste that's been exposed, you should be celebrating.
You probably saw, let's say Trump is a threat to our democracy, which is ironic since he was elected with the majority of the popular vote. They started saying I was a threat to democracy. But if you just replace threat to democracy with threat to bureaucracy, it makes total sense. Normally the bureaucracy eats revolutions for breakfast. This is the first time that they're not. That the revolution might actually succeed. That we could restore power to the people instead of power to the bureaucracy.
Like you said a minute ago, Rachel, all this is unfolding right before our eyes. Yeah. And there's something it's a little, maybe a little chaotic, maybe a little uncomfortable for some people, but it's a very healthy thing.
I couldn't agree more. And yeah, he said also in that interview, he said, this is the greatest revolution since the American Revolution, since 1776. And he talked about this team that Donald Trump has enacted. And again, it's so interesting. He said, bureaucracies eat revolutions. This time, they just might not make it.
I just can't believe that Elon Musk went to Austin, Texas, and missed the whole